From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LALATE, live from Santa Monica, California, as your RECON passes Saturday night. A $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill passed the House. In that subcommittee, they passed a budget markup of what would be a bill, and in there, all the deliciousness of this channel. Cluster number one's checks passed. Cluster number two's checks passed. And cluster number three's checks passed. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for children, checks for adults, checks for a bike, car, vehicle. Hazard pay got in there, and $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks. We'll go over all the incredible details of this passage of a historic $3.5 trillion legislation on Saturday night. Meantime, I told you on Mornings LA live on air no less than 2 hours ago that there were going to be major meetings today about the RECON and its vote, about the bipartisan and its vote, and about the debt ceiling and its vote. And I have no less than 20 pages of incredible dramatics that happened in just the last few minutes. It is like you have never seen. In this recording, we will go over all the breaking news. I may have to go off script because there is a lot of breaking details. As Pelosi goes after the moderates on the debt ceiling limit. The moderates go after the progressives. Bernie goes after the media. And some people are going after the president. It's a lot of dramatics. As a date looms for Thursday, a date looms for Friday, and yet all those Democrats who have said before they're going to insert a monthly stimulus check, IRS check for you, will still say they're doing it. AOC, Jalapala, and Omar and Sanders still confirming to viewers this channel in the last few days they're inserting it in there. So let's go over all the incredible details as the finish line's in front of us. Let's get to it as Noontime LA starts right now. Hey, good noontime, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the board. And thank you for joining me as the President of the United States just had meetings, and so did Pelosi, about your fourth stimulus check RECON of 2021. I have the latest details in no less than 3 separate meetings, one about the RECON, one about the infrastructure, and one about the debt ceiling limit. And boy, it's dramatics as 3 major events are unfolding at the same time. I have massive quotes that are coming in now from Pelosi minutes ago, from the goth gang, from Bernie Sanders, and even from the president himself. Whoa, it is dramatics. But the incredible details is that on Saturday night, a RECON passed, $3.5 trillion of checks for you and the American people. And when it happened, not a single broadcast channel covered it. Not a single print media covered it. Not a single YouTube channel covered it. That's why you want to subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, because this is the only place you're going to see this entire coverage across the board. Stay to the very end because there is a lot coming up in this extended broadcast. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Parrot, Calcino VIP. Let's get to the details, starting with what happened on Saturday night. On Saturday night, a $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill passed by the House subcommittee. Not really a bill, but what is a markup of a bill? $3.5 trillion of checks got passed. Cluster number 1, 2, and 3, covered on this channel over the last few weeks, got passed. Let's go over each of them one at a time. First, it's important to remember that the entire RECON is money for you, and it's not COVID related, so you don't have to have any COVID issues for you to get this money. It's money for seniors, workers, individuals, all different types of people. You. Cluster number 1, here we go. Hazard pay in there. Money for adult seniors, $4,000. Children, MSCs, $51,000. Grants for college students, home repairs, bikes, and cars and trucks. Let's go over all of them starting right now. Hazard pay got in there, and this is a big one for this channel. This channel is the biggest advocacy place on the planet for hazard pay. They got it in there by expanding the earned income tax credit a lifetime and broadening the eligibility and paying more money. This is huge for all those essential workers. Then they got up to $4,000 a year if you care for an elderly person in a home. This may be you. And then up to $4,000 a year to care for a young child at home. They got that in there as well. Then college students, 3 different types of grants. One grant that goes to the university, one grant that goes to the student, and then making the Pell Grant tax-free. Home repairs got in there. If you live in a low-income community, they got free money in there to repair the home. And then what about $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks, MSCs? They got it in there. The CTC, the child tax credit, got modified at 11th hour on a Saturday night, incredibly expanding the eligibility so that it would now include non-biological parents. Let's go over the calculations. It's up to $300 a month. So for every month that the household is a low-income household, you'll get up to $300 a month every month for every year, which is $51,000 over 18 years. Wow, deliciousness. Then they got money in there for bikes, vehicles, and trucks, all electric and all from the U.S. auto manufacturers. The bikes up to 15%, the vehicles up to $7,500 personal use, a little bit more for business use, and the trucks a little bit more. Wow, there you go. In a second, we're going to go to cluster number 2 checks passed, and we're going to go over cluster number 3's checks passed. But first, let's take a detour to third stimulus for just a blink of an eye. Janet Yellen, your Treasury Secretary, very smart last week because she anticipated a potential shutdown of the federal government this Friday with the debt ceiling limit. So she sent out the additional $13 billion from third stimulus. That big money went out, and boy, it is needed. It is additional money for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with these additional resources to help the Americans in need. There you go. What's time for some more checks? Let's get some more checks. Cluster number 2's checks got in there fast. And it starts with big money for paid family leave and paid medical leave. How much is this? What is it? Family leave, you have to stay home because your family member is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. How much is it paid? Well, under third stimulus was $1,700 a week, if you make $70,000 or more per year. Split it in half. $35,000 annual salary, $800 a week. Wow. Split in half. $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. Wow. The other 12 checks in this second cluster of checks are deliciousness. Build up of child care programs, household tax credit checks, then checks for seniors, like dental checks, vision, hearing care checks, lowering medical eligibility age. Then we have checks for pre-kindergarten, totally free. But weatherizing your home, they got in there. Definitely needed when the Purple Hawks are on the roof. Weatherizing your home. If you have to weatherize a home because of hurricane area or tornado zone. Then 2 types of checks. Free pre-kindergarten and then tuition-free community college. Definitely needed, especially for people who want to take that class called What the World is LATE Saying? 101. You know, if you want to be fluent in the foreign language called Los Angeles, you can take the class. You just have to say kale salad in every sentence. There we go. And let's cut to third cluster checks in just a second. But what is Congress doing? What is Congress doing? Well, Congress had an incredible series of meetings today, minutes ago. These are meetings that have happened just since morning's LA. Can you see how many pages this is? These are their comments. Pelosi had a meeting with the moderates, Democrats, about the debt ceiling limit. She emerged furious. The moderate Democrats started name-calling the progressives. Furious. The president had a meeting with the moderate Democrats. Fascinating. And also, the moderate Democrats, and then Bernie had a war of words with the media. What did Bernie say to the media? Bernie's upset that the media is not covering the recon. Bernie, just tune in. He says the media needs to stop covering the roads and bridges and start covering the recon. Bernie, just tune in. I'll give you the link. We'll be going over all these incredible dramatics in just a second. But what's important to understand is that in the last few days of this week, the progressives have been telling the viewers of this channel again that they're inserting a monthly IRS stimulus check. This is huge because remember, over the last 8 weeks, over 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told by Senate Democrats and House Democrats that they're inserting a provision for a monthly stimulus check. Notice the forward searching verb tense of that verb. Notice the future tense of the verb will be, is going to be, amending, is going to amend. That is consistent with Pelosi's comments on Saturday night and the president's comments Saturday night. When that recon budget passed on a Saturday night, $3.5 trillion, Pelosi said it's not really a bill yet, because it's not. It's not a bill yet, because I want you to still add things in there. Guess what Pelosi said going into that weekend? She said to viewers of this channel, she's inserting a monthly stimulus check IRS provision in there. It's not a full bill. It's sort of like an envelope where you can still add stuff in there. And guess who wanted to add something in there yesterday? Ron Wyden, Democrat, progressive senator, said he wants to add in the extension of unemployment benefits. Wow. This is huge. We'll have more about this in a second. Stay with me to the final 15 minutes. I told you there's a lot coming up. And this is going to go a little bit off script because there is so much happening at noontime. All right, let's get back to the third cluster checks they got in there as well. These are the president's checks, the one he wants in there. And here we go. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for seniors like checks for dental, checks for vision, checks for hearing care, and checks for lowering eligibility age for Medicare. Cluster number three's checks got an additional $107 billion for you. This is a world exclusive. How did this happen? Well, this is what went on. 2 weeks ago, the Senate parliamentarian ruled one of the provisions in there about the judiciary cannot belong. So guess what? I went back in my notes to figure out how much that allocation is. $107 billion. Where's it going? It's getting reallocated to you. Deliciousness. And then two of the items in there, the president is using as a way to get this over the finish line, the recon, because they pay instantly. The first one, cheaper prescription medication. How will this work? Let's say you go to the pharmacy today, pay for a prescription. You take two $20 bills out of your wallet. Then this becomes law. Then when you go to refill it, you may only have to take one $20 bill out of your wallet, keeping another 20 in the wallet. Then on the other side is the exciting details about free internet. They're going to give fortunes to city, counties, and states so that they can offer you free internet. All you have to say is, I'm a resident. They'll say, you want the username and password? Yeah, what is it? It is, username is Cowzilla. And then password is CowU. There you go. Coming up in the second half of this video, we'll be going over the big dramatics of what's going on among the House and Senate Democrats, the moderate and the progressive Democrats, for the battle of the three bills, the recon, the bipartisan, and also the debt ceiling limit. But here's where we are going into the commercial break. The Democrats have said to thousands of viewers of this channel, they're inserting that provision for the IRS monthly stimulus check in there as well. Well, guess what? They confirmed that this week as well. And also, Pelosi and the president has said to both moderate and also progressive Democrats, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want, because we're adding these things in there. We want you to speak up. The progressives, we want to add these things in there. The moderates, excuse me, I can't hear you. Are the moderates talking, or are they just sort of quiet? I'll explain what the moderates are saying. It's dramatics like you've never seen. It's coming up after the commercial break. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right live from Santa Monica at noontime, as no less than 3 major developments happen in the last hour and a half since morning's LA. Of all those incredible details coming up in the second half, because guess what? Bernie is angry, the Goth Gang is not pleased, the progressives have a comment, and so does Pelosi and the president. I have all the incredible details breaking at noontime. This is totally new in just the last 2 hours. Told you the news cycle is going to change very quickly in the next few days, and it's happening right now. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers to YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Wow, it is very, very extenuated. And let's go to the dramatics starting right now. The President of the United States had meetings last night, and those meetings last night were about asking the moderate Democrats, what do you want? Their response? No response. Excuse me? The moderate Democrats are one fraction. The progressive Democrats, another fraction. Who's protecting your recon? The progressives. The progressives are protecting your recon, and they are AOC, Jalopal, Omar, Pelosi, Bernie Sanders, Ron Wyden, and also Elizabeth Warren and those other Senate Democrats. What happened just minutes ago? Let's go over the dramatics, starting with the first one. There was a meeting about the 3 bills, and those 3 bills were the topic of discussion. They are your debt ceiling limit, the infrastructure, roads and bridges bipartisan, and your recon. During the meeting about the debt ceiling limit, Nancy Pelosi got furious at the moderate Democrats, which include the Goth Gang. Then there was another meeting in which the Goth Gang went after the progressives about their attempt to kill the roads and bridges on Thursday to protect the recon. And then there was a comment by Bernie Sanders going after the media about its coverage of the roads and bridges. I'll have all those incredible details in just a second because, boy, they are major developing details. But first, let's go over how we got up to here, and let's first take a look at third stimulus. Third stimulus has an additional cash infusion of $13 billion landing in cities, counties, and states right now, and I want you to go get it because guess what? Viewers have now gotten double the amount of money for rent than 30 days ago, triple the amount of money for utilities that they got a month ago, and now 400% more money for SNAP than they got a month ago. Let's go over these big sums of money and how you can get a new refrigerator. Oh yeah, that's happening as well. Well, the exciting details started about a few days ago, as viewers now see their money for rent being growing astronomically. Viewers from this channel are now getting up to $40,000 for rent as Purple Hawk's Purple Power. That happened with Jen just a few days ago. Then when we talk about utilities, the money for utilities has gone up 300%. Remember Mark? You see Mark right there. He got $6,500. Well, his brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. Then the money for SNAP has gone up 400% to now $21,000. Let's go over all these big sums of money you can get very quickly before we get back to that breaking news about fourth stimulus. First, it raises your bet. First, I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different pots of money, and they have different eligibility. Number 2, listen to the keywords I say in this video. And number 3, lean on the nonprofits. First, here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Those are the keywords you say. Again, the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, State House Authority. Number 2, I want you to use that Treasury statement. If you're a member of this channel, the newsletter comes out nightly. And now in there is that Treasury statement about the $13 billion. When you read it, I want you to know what it is so that when you call up your city, county, state asking for it, I want you to know what you're asking about. If they don't have it yet, say, I want to be on the waiting list, or I want to be able to call you tomorrow when you land, get it. Then I want you to reach out to all your different utility companies. So if you have 5, reach out to 5. And then 5 of the nonprofits and a refrigerator. Yes, the nonprofits are doing incredible stuff like never before. 2 viewers have gotten refrigerators for the nonprofits in the last 7 days. One got a furnace as well, and also her window fix. As to St. Vincent de Paul, one viewer said he got his rent approved within 24 hours or funded within 24 hours of approval. And then United Way, the same success story. Here are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charity, St. Vincent de Paul. What's important to understand is that the nonprofits pay more money, and different eligibility than the federal government. In fact, they pay for different items that the federal government would never pay for. They often pay for clothing, small appliances. They sometimes help people from homelessness get into shelters as well. Here are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. They're featured in the newsletter as well. Finally, if you want to get holiday gifts, get them now from Salvation Army in late September, early October. That's when they start getting them lined up now. Don't wait till November, December. Let's turn over to SNAP briefly. SNAP raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security. No, I said that wrong. SNAP's benefits are going up an average of 25% automatically starting in October. And this is huge because guess what? There were 2 letters and now people are getting the second letter. The first letter said your benefits stepped down in September, which they did because the executive orders are ending. But then the second letter says your benefits are now stepping up another 25% starting in October. This is huge. And so yes, everyone's benefits are going up an average of 25% a lifetime automatically nationwide starting October. One reader got the letter. Then let's go over to brief quickly the unemployment benefits. The refund check coming back from your state due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and computer error. And then finally the one coming back from Treasury where you pay taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits. If you got any of these monies from this channel, post in the live chat right now. Finally, if you've not become a member, what are you doing? You need to become a member. The link is under the video. Members are delivered daily from me to you, a breakdown of the big money under first, second, and third stimulus in the nightly LALATE newsletter. It's sent out at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, via the YouTube page and the LALATE alert system. It has all the big money in there for you. So that's why viewers are getting 80,000 like Johnny. Mark, 51,000. Johnny's 2 friends, 100,000. Mark's friends, 50,000, 50,000. Lorraine, 100,000. I want you to make a promise to yourself that you can get the money as far into the future as you can into 2021. Utilities, mortgage, and rent. Lean on the nonprofits because we're late summer, early fall, and the nonprofits are knocking a lot of calls right now. So get as much money as you can. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, which is going to be very extended because we have a lot of breaking news starting right now. Well, here is what's going on. There have been a series of meetings that started Monday, then Monday night, then Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, and then minutes ago now Wednesday midday or late afternoon on the East Coast. What are these meetings about? These meetings are about 3 different subject matters, and they're doing them all at the same time. It's the battle of the 3 bills: your RECON, the roads and bridges, also called the bipartisan, also called the infrastructure, and also the debt ceiling limit. The president held meetings last night with the moderate Democrats again. He held meetings throughout the day with them as well. And during those meetings with the moderate Democrats, this is what the president reportedly did. He said to the moderate Democrats, what do you want to do with the RECON? Excuse me, I can't hear you. What do you want to do, moderate Democrats, with the RECON? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Speak up. And that has been sort of the problem the president has had with the moderate Democrats, is that when you ask them about the RECON, your money, the moderate Democrats are responding. When asking the progressives, what do you want to do with the RECON, the progressives say, I want to add in monthly IRS stimulus checks. I want to add in extension of unemployment benefits. I want to add in good, we'll add it in. President says good. Pelosi says good. That's why she didn't call it a bill as of Saturday night. She says you want to add stuff in, add stuff in. But moderate Democrats, what do you want to do with the RECON? Can't hear you. This is not sitting well with the president as of Tuesday night, because guess what he reportedly said to the moderate Democrats? Well, I got 3 bills here. I got the RECON, I have the roads and bridges, and I have the debt ceiling limit. It doesn't really look good if I go into the weekend and I've gotten 0-3 done. And so what did the president do? Reportedly, the president pulled out of his back pocket the best game card he can use, which he's been holding, which is basically to say, hey, if you don't want 3 bills, then I guess you don't want me. I'll be gone in 2 years. Just get yourself a Republican president. Yeah, apparently he said to the moderate Democrats that, why are we here? If you want me to be a Democratic president, then get me stuff passed. If you don't want me to have stuff passed, then just get yourself a Republican president. I won't be here in 2 years if this is what you want to do. Apparently it's working. Apparently it's working. People were surprised that is how far he would go for this. Now, over to the moderate Democrat House members and the progressives. Let's go over who they are. Moderate Democrats are the Goth gang, Goth, Gothenheim. And the progressive Democrats, well, there's a lot of them. There's 60 of them that include Jalapal, AOC, Omar, and in some regards, Pelosi. What's going on with this? About a month ago, the Goth gang, the moderate Democrats, basically tried to push their situation forward of calling a vote on the roads and bridges. And at the time, Pelosi made a deal with the Goth gang. She said, okay, fine. I will call a vote for the Goth gang for the roads and bridges infrastructure on Thursday, which is tomorrow now. And I will call for a vote. I'll call it for a vote. Now, does the calling for the vote of the roads and bridges impact your recon? No, it does not. Does the passage of the roads and bridges on Thursday hurt your recon? No, it does not hurt the recon. Does the non-passage of the roads and bridges on Thursday help your recon? It does. This is what's going on, is that Bernie Sanders today, minutes ago, and the progressives all day yesterday told Pelosi, you know what? Break your promise to the Goth gang. Break your promise and don't call the vote on the roads and bridges on Thursday. So far, Pelosi is not choosing to break her promise. She's vowing to keep her promise. So what are the progressives doing? They have said all day yesterday that they have 60 of them ready to kill the roads and bridges on Thursday. If this happens, this really helps your recon. So what happened minutes ago? Minutes ago, the Goth gang basically name-called the progressives, calling them a very small group of people that are sort of on the fringe that don't represent the president's priorities. Oh boy, that's a way to really piss off people, isn't it? Let's understand that the progressives are 60 of them. There's not 3 of them. And that the president has told them to protect his recon. The president has told the progressives to protect my recon because the president is really focused on the recon more than the roads and bridges. This is what Gothenham said. He said that they're really just a small group of people. When asked whether he thought that the roads and bridges vote will happen tomorrow, he said it will happen tomorrow. I think the vote will happen. I think it's not going to pass. Then he said that it's just a small group of people. He said, I'm very shocked if a small fraction of the Democrats are going to vote against my thing. It just doesn't really add up. You know what doesn't add up, Goth Gang? Is he literally said in this quote that the reason it's so important to pass the roads and bridges on Thursday is it's going to put people to work. No, because you're not going to be building the roads and you're not going to start building the roads and bridges for a couple of years. Yeah, I'll put them to work in like 2024. It's not going to put anyone to work today. So that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. All right, so that is what he said. Now, let's go over to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was furious at the Goth Gang, the people I just quoted. She was furious at the Goth Gang, not for the roads and bridges, but because of what the Goth Gang did to Nancy Pelosi. I told you she doesn't like them. But, first you come to Pelosi a few months ago and ask for the vote on the infrastructure Thursday, and you get it. And right before the vote, what do you do as the Goth Gang? You go after Pelosi about the debt ceiling limit. Not a good look. It's not a good look for the Goth Gang, for those moderate Democrats. So Pelosi said that she was furious at how, after a closed-door meeting today, she was furious at a half a dozen moderates who threatened to block the debt ceiling limit. Oh, boy. She said these members have been voting all this week for this. So if they're so concerned about how it might be in an ad, then it's already in an ad. Oh, boy. And He says, I think it comes to a place where we have to have an agreement in legislation, not just principles. Meantime, when Bernie heard Nancy furious at the progressives, at the moderates about the debt ceiling limit, then Bernie used that in his advantage to go after the moderates about your RECON. He said, I don't think there's anything God-given about tomorrow for the roads and bridges. Let's be clear, this is one of the most significant pieces of legislation in American history, and it doesn't matter if it's passed on a Thursday, Friday, Monday, or Tuesday. I love that, because he's right. I mean, who cares about the roads and bridges? It doesn't have to be passed tomorrow. It doesn't have to be passed at all. Now, Bernie was also angry about something else. He's angry at the media, because all they keep on talking about is the roads and bridges and never about the RECON. This was Bernie's quote in part. He says, sometimes we lose track of the forest from the trees. We're trying to deal with the end or significantly reduce the things. Make sure that old people have teeth in their mouths. So, yeah, definitely well said. I appreciate that, Bernie. So let's go over where they are with this, and this is fascinating. Let's cut back to that monthly IRS stimulus check first, and then we're going to bring it up to the present, and I'll explain to you what's going on now that you see these high dramatics going into 1, 2, 3 potential votes between now and just Friday. Yeah, there's a lot coming up. First, let's go over that monthly IRS stimulus check. The great news is that the Democrats, including Bernie, including AOC and Jalapal and Omar's office, have all told viewers of this channel since at least yesterday, if not the start of this week, that they're still putting in the monthly IRS stimulus check. That's why I have to stay at the very end of these broadcasts. Let's start back with 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, I said pick up the phone and advocate to these Democrats for the inclusion of a monthly IRS stimulus check. And WR did. He picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, advocated for a stimulus check. And Coons' office said yes, he's inserting that monthly IRS stimulus check in there. Well, it was about 3 weeks ago where I started to deliver a lot of big exclusives on this channel. Number one, I said that the House Democrats would be writing the RECON legislation. We now see that's true. I told you that the House Democrats would be voting first, and we now know that's also true. And that the Senate Democrats would vote last. That's also true. I also told you Bernie Sanders is very important to the equation because he got the $3.5 trillion price tag for the RECON. Well, he is. He is the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. There's a House Budget Committee as well that's drafting the legislation. At the time, 3 weeks ago, Bernie Sanders said, unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm writing the RECON. This is huge. This is huge because what does that mean? It means he wants to hear from you. And that's exactly what I asked viewers to do. Brother Joshua, Lynn Glenn, and Gail and Margaret picked up the phone and advocated to Bernie Sanders' office 3 weeks ago. And all three told by Bernie Sanders' office that he's including a monthly IRS stimulus check provision. What does advocacy look like when we're advocating for stimulus? Incredible details coming out from viewers. Let's look at some screen grabs. These screen grabs are either comments posted on the channel written by viewers or posted in social media and private message. Here's a message written by Margaret. Honestly, I and the woman on the phone at the senator's office started crying when I explained everything I've been through. Here's another viewer explaining what her conversation was with a senator advocating for a stimulus check. I told her my husband died. How am I to have 10 surgeries since his passing? How am I to raise 2 teenage daughters and hardships? How am I to have SSDI? It's not enough. And her crying as well. Well, Brother Joshua followed through just like that, picking up the phone and advocating to Bernie Sanders' office 3 weeks ago, saying this is why I need it, my family needs it, my church needs it. And Sanders' office saying yes. He's inserting a monthly stimulus check provision, $1,000 or $1,400, 3 to 6 months, but needs to hear your support. And boy, have we shown the support. Let's look at the screen grabs written by other viewers of this channel right after that message from Sanders' office and all the way up to the present. It started with Donnie, who picked up the phone and wrote the following after his conversation. Donnie wrote the following. I called Bernie Sanders' office and his secretary said they are doing a stimulus check. I said, this is what I need. My family needs it. My city needs it. I need to progress. I need it for my water and everything. I told her. And she said she's okay with a fourth stimulus check. Hurricane Tina write in the following. I called Bernie Sanders' office. I got through and they said they're putting in a fourth stimulus check. Carolyn writing. I called Bernie Sanders' office to talk to the secretary. Told her we need help here. People are losing their homes. They lose what we got. She agreed. And Bernie's putting in a fourth stimulus check. Yaya calling up Ron Wyden's office. Spoke to another Wyden staffer who says he wants to put in the SS200. And then we have the incredible comments by Will that shows us don't call one person, call as many as you can call. And he called Sanders, Warren, and Schumer. And this is what he wrote. I called Bernie, Warren, and Schumer's offices, and all three of them confirmed. I explained what I wanted. Elizabeth Warren's office asked me what kind of checks I would be sufficient. I explained like the American petition. That's $2,000 a month. And they said they're on board with that. And they said Senator Warren is putting in $1,000 to $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Lorica is on the phone today with Bob Casey's office. She tells me in private message, but here was her message 2 weeks ago. Lorica wrote, I just got off the phone with Senator Casey's office. Yes, they're in negotiations for the inclusion of a stimulus check provision right now. At that point, we had senators telling over 1,000 viewers of this channel that they will be inserting a monthly IRS stimulus check provision in the recon. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden were the senators. I said, pick up the phone and call the House Democrats. And viewers did. Paul picked up the phone and called AOC's office. She wants them to be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. She assured me they're adding it to the bill. Here is Janice. I called everyone. I called Jalapal, and they said, yes, they're doing a forced stimulus check in there. Jalapal called Omar's office, and they confirmed the same as well. And the messages continue to come in across the board, like Mark, who called Pelosi's office. I called her. Her staff told me there would be a forced stimulus check of $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and they almost finished negotiating it, and there you go. At that point, viewers were told, over 1,000 viewers were told, that negotiations near complete for the inclusion of monthly stimulus checks, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, running 6 months with about the same eligibility as the prior stimulus checks. So now let's go over all the nuances of what's happening right now and what happened yesterday about this as well. Since the passage of the $3.5 trillion recon on Saturday night, with cluster 1, 2, and 3 in there, Pelosi said late Saturday, and so did the president, that this is not the whole bill. If you want to add stuff in, you can add stuff in. And that is, in fact, what AOC, Omar, Jalapal, and even Sanders' office has told viewers of this channel since even the passage of the recon on Saturday. They want to add stuff in. Just like how Ron Wyden, Democrat, senator, said yesterday he wants to add in the extension of unemployment benefits. Remember, he's a senator. There's two ways to add things in. One, you add things in on the House side. So if you're AOC, Omar, Jalapal, you add it on the House side while they're marking up the $3.5 trillion recon. Or if you're a senator, you add it in during the two-day vote-a-rama at the end by amendment, if you're Sanders, Wyden, Schumer, Casey, or Coons, or someone like that. Now, let's go over the nuance of the battle of these three bills and the voting dates, which is very, very fascinating. And this is why the news cycle is changing by the hour on this channel. The next shows today are Afternoons LA and Evenings LA, which will have the latest updates about the developing details. Evenings LA will have the last update about the day because there are still more meetings going on. First, we have Thursday. Second, we have Friday. And finally, we have three bodies of legislation. We have RECON, which is protected by the progressives. The progressives want to take your recon and bring it over the finish line. They want to add things in there, like the MS IRS stimulus checks, as they said. Those progressives are, on the House side, AOC, Omar, Jalapal, and they are aligned with Pelosi because her closest friends are progressives, including Ilhan Omar. On the Senate side, they are Warren, Schumer's, Casey, Coons, Sanders. Then we have the next body of legislation, the roads and bridges, the infrastructure, the bipartisan, all different words for the same thing. Who is behind that? That is the Goth gang with Gothenheimer, House moderate Democrats also called. What do they want to do? They want that vote on that roads and bridges to happen on Thursday and for it to pass. Finally, we have the debt ceiling limit. And the debt ceiling limit is an issue for everyone to be doing. So what is the dramatics of what's happening? Well, the president having those multiple meetings with the moderate Democrats yesterday, starting in the middle of the day into the late and the end of the day, saying, moderate Democrats, what do you want to do with my recon? Excuse me, I can't hear you. I'm breathing. Well, can you talk? Well, I'm just breathing for now. Can you tell me what you want to do with my recon? But can we call the vote on the bipartisan tomorrow, the roads and bridges, because we really need to get that done. That's up to the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Now, what the president is doing basically at this point is really trying to take that risk of the moderate Democrats and saying, listen, you tell me what you want to do with the recon, because if you don't want to do the recon, if you don't want to pass 3 bodies of legislation, then I'm not going to be your president. I'll be gone. So just, say goodbye to me. And they are absolutely furious he's saying that, because that's just not, that just sort of shows like he's throwing in the towel. But that's the game he's playing with them, and it's apparently working. With Pelosi and the moderate Democrats, what is she doing? At the moment, she is upholding her promise as Speaker of the House to the Goth gang and the moderate Democrats to call the vote on the infrastructure, roads and bridges on Thursday. The progressive Democrats are telling her to break her promise, not uphold her promise, and not call the vote. I think she's going to keep her promise, is my personal opinion. Will the vote for the roads and bridges pass? If it passes, it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt the recon. If it doesn't pass, it really helps the recon. I'll tell you why. Because at that point, it shows that the progressives, as the Goth gang calls, is not a small fraction, is not some fringe players. They are really the group in control. To pass a body of legislation in the House, you have only a majority by 3 Democrats. The progressives say they have 60 progressive Democrats to vote against the roads and bridges on Thursday. If that does happen, which I believe it will happen, that will send a very clear message to the progressives, to the moderates, the Goth gang, that the progressives really are calling the shots here. Remember, the progressives protecting your recon. Why are they doing this? To protect the recon, to protect you and to protect the recon. If that roads and bridges goes down in fire and brimstone by the end of Thursday, Bernie Sanders and the progressives, AOC, Jalopal, and you, the supporters and people who want the recon, will have a big victory against these moderate Democrats. Now, what else is looming with this debt ceiling limit? Let me go over what the debt ceiling limit is, and then let me go over the impact of it for Friday. The debt ceiling limit doesn't concern you. It doesn't concern you whatsoever. Number one, your checks are going to arrive on time. So if you receive Social Security benefits checks like SSI or SSDI, you're a federal employee or an armed services member, your checks are arriving on time. They're arriving on time next week, the week after that, the week after that. It's very commonplace we miss these debt ceiling limit deadlines by a few days, a few weeks. We missed it several times since this channel's been around since April 25th of last year. It's very rare we miss it by 2 months. So if this goes on the debt ceiling limit into December, check back with me. But for the time being, it has nothing to do with you. Number two, it has nothing to do with your recon money, because the debt ceiling is used to pay for existing law. It's not being used to pay for proposed bills. Finally, does it impact the passage of the recon? I really think it does. Let me tell you what's going on. You would have normally in a given week had a 2-bill storyline on this channel. Recon versus roads and bridges. Recon versus bipartisan. That's all you would hear on this channel. And it would look, it would have its own characteristic. Progressives, recon, and moderate Democrats, roads and bridges. Well, guess what? The addition of the debt ceiling limit makes the situation better for the recon and the progressives. Because, as for example, the Goth gang coming out of a meeting saying, you know what, we're going to pass our roads and bridges tomorrow. And Nancy Pelosi, 2 seconds later, coming out of another meeting saying, I'm so angry at these moderate Democrats with the debt ceiling limit. They're trying to have me not do my debt ceiling limit. I can't get anything done because of these moderate Democrats. So you're pissing off the person you're trying to get your roads and bridges passed with over the debt ceiling limit, bill number 3. You're pissing her off about bill number 3 when you're trying to get your own roads and bridges done. It helps our recon a lot. Pelosi was the way one conservative publication reported it says Nancy Pelosi tore into the moderate Democrats after they had a meeting about the debt ceiling limit. That's actually the quote. So then let's go to the issue of the debt ceiling limit and the president. This is what's gloomy, is that the roads and bridges Thursday, call it for a vote, likely Pelosi will uphold her promise. Pass, if the progressives' head count is correct, it will really go down in fire and absolutely not pass whatsoever. Big victory for the progressives, big victory for your recon, big victory for Bernie, AOC, Jalapal, Omar, and really Pelosi, that she called the vote, but she didn't promise she was going to pass it for you. Then Friday, miss the debt ceiling limit, likely to miss the debt ceiling limit. That means that by Friday, the president will be sitting back as the leader party in control, passing 0 of 3 bills in 1 week. Not a good look. And he's going to tell the moderate Democrats, you're the fault of why we ended the week with 0 of 3 bills. It's not a good look. Start changing the look right away. And that's why this all helps you. The fact that the debt ceiling limit is likely to not get done is a great way to blame the moderate Democrats, and a great way to use that blame game to anchor the recon over the finish line. And guess who said the word finish line? The head of the Democratic caucus in the last 24 hours. When describing the situation about passing the recon and the bipartisan, Hakeem Jeffries, the #1 guy, he's the House Democratic caucus chair, said, you know what, don't worry, because we're figuring out the pathway to getting both of these very important bills over the finish line. Do you think he's wearing purple? I think he should. And with that, I look forward to seeing you next on Afternoons LA, which is at 1 o'clock. This video will automatically take you there. Then I'm back with you with the new Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock. It's a brand new show. Don't miss it. And then don't miss the 5 o'clock Evenings LA show, which has been taped later than the afternoon show by a few hours with the new breaking developing details. And I'll have more that you haven't even heard in this noontime show. There's a lot coming up with a lot of major developing details between now and Friday. You cannot miss a single show. The news cycle's changing by the hour, on the hour. I have all the backdoor negotiations, all the comments, all the twists and turns. You're only hearing them here. And this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 2,000 to 3,000 likes. Tell your friends to come on over. Tell people to come on over. The most in-depth, accurate reporting of everything on the hour, by the hour, because the dramatics are going to really set off some fireworks between now and Friday. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you next on Afternoons LA. This video will take you automatically to that in 6 seconds.